against Donald Trump and the work that he's doing, John Hickenlooper.
Welcome, Michael Bennett. The only blessing here for me is that even though I'm following Michael Bennett, I'm not following Michael Bennett and Jody Luce. That would be heartless injustice. And we've seen enough of that in Washington right now. I'm going to go from funny to serious. As many of you know, I spent a lot of time in the restaurant business. I understand. I got into politics because I was frustrated. I thought government could do more. I thought it could be smaller. I hated red tape. I imagined a place where we were all, however it worked, at the table. And we were making decisions not to get reelected, but to make things better. And this is the opposite of that. I've only got 5 minutes, or 7 minutes, I guess. I'm going to try myself. You guys can start making loud noises when I go too long. But I'm going to tell 1 or 2 stories. When I first opened the wine group, and we were way behind, we hadn't raised enough money, my own mother wouldn't invest. And on the last day, I had one of my old friends who invested 10 grand, was the biggest investment she ever made. She was turning 40 on Sunday. And we got a temporary certificate of occupancy. We were supposed to get it on Friday afternoon. And at 4 o'clock, the inspector finally came. He was going to sign off. We don't get this. There's no party Sunday. Who knows when we open? We're supposed to open the next Monday. And he shows up, and we go through. We've done everything. At the end, he's coming up from the basement where we store the grain. It wasn't even a public exit. He goes, "This railing seems a little low." And you got to kid me. He goes, "Yeah." And I pulled out a tape measure, and he goes, "It's supposed to be 26 inches, it's 28 inches.
Oh my
Got a problem, I'm not sure this is going to work." And I hadn't slept. I was just the amount of red tape and stuff I'd already dealt with. It was the first restaurant with a movie, so we had to create all our own little myriad of paperwork. I looked at it and I said, well, and I wasn't even thinking. I grew up outside Philadelphia. Right? Yeah, Philly, even to this day, to a certain extent, much less so. But when I grew up there, it was corrupt. If you were building something, you had to pay off every level of inspector some little bit or do something for their friend. Anyway, I looked at this guy and said, do I have to make a donation to the retired building inspectors fund or something? Trying to make a little joke, but he got it. And he stopped, he goes, "Mr. Hickenlooper, you don't know me. I'm going up the stairs now, not to leave you, to get my screw gun. And you and I together are going to move this railing down 2 inches. But if you're serious about that comment, I'm going to walk and go home because it's my Friday too." That is when I said, this is a place, and I think this is not just Colorado, but much of the West, where we escape that kind of demonic government, where the people in power held court and demanded whatever they wanted. And they demanded loyalty from their employees in civil service. And we went, we moved it, we opened, and I've never forgotten that that's the way government works. And when I ran for mayor, that was one of the stories I told all the time. What Donald Trump is doing is trying to tear it all apart. And we see, I wrote a list of this stuff so I wouldn't forget. But, I used to work on Meals on Wheels. We do a couple, one meal a month. I had to help out. We'd go take hot meals to elderly. Many of them couldn't leave their houses at all. The only time they saw anyone was when they got that hot meal. And, Donald Trump, that's somewhere they want to save some money. Community health centers. I helped a friend start a community health center in Connecticut in 1972. It's now got 220 locations. They're being told their budget can be cut by 20%. Do you have any idea how many poor people, working people will lose health care or they'll get cut back? They won't get to see the the healthcare provider they were seeing. Childcare. Head Start, Colorado. Looking at cutting back, maybe stopping that temporarily, quote unquote. Right? And why is this? They're doing this. They're cutting all these services, these funds, these grants to the research for our universities. I don't know if you saw last night, they're going to reduce the infrastructure, the support for all the research schools. Like I heard from the CEO of National Jewish Hospital, CU, CSU, they're all going to get a massive cut. I'm with the leader of the world side. All being cut so that we can give tax cuts to the really wealthy. And many of whom don't want the tax cuts. That's what's so bewildering to me. Obviously, there must be a lot of them that do. Or I guess the super wealthy do. So two things. Oh, I left out the part that, of course, Trump is trying to force civil service employees to retire or get out, or he'll lay them off unless they can prove they're loyal to him. And that's exactly how Boss Tweed did it, late 1800s in New York. That's how the original Mayor Daley in Chicago ran Chicago. That's backwards. And all, again, get these people retired, to cut the size of civil service. Who knows when people get their retirement checks or their Social Security checks. And we can talk, you can attack me for a vote on this and a vote on that, and I would love to sit down and you send me an email, I'll respond to it. jwh@hickenlooper.com. And I'll say, what Democrats have done too often is attack each other when there are times of hardship. And I'm going to do some things I'm sure that will piss off a lot of people, and I've got good reasons for them. You might disagree with some of them. But, I look at something like climate change. We cannot wait 4 years and do nothing, let them turn back the clock. Anyway, we're doing all this to cut all these taxes, to lower the taxes for people, the really wealthy. What are we doing in Washington? Well, we've got an army, at least 1,000, probably several thousand lawyers right now, as Michael said, thank God for the courts. But that takes time, money, and effort, and it takes facts. So in the Senate and the House, we're able to go out and get some of those facts. We recruit whistleblowers. I have personally recruited a couple of whistleblowers. They get anonymity. Of course, we're not going to reveal them. But we've got to find every single place where they're breaking the law. Let me say, there's no shortage. Right? There's no shortage. The places where they are going against the Constitution. The Constitution clearly says that the House and the Senate, the Congress controls the purse. And they're paying no attention to that at all. Those whistleblowers help get us the facts that allow the lawyers to go to court and win, to stop it. In the meantime, we're slowing everything down. We get a lot of suggestions of ways we can slow down better. We look at every suggestion. There's no question that we're doing everything we can to slow it down, to get whistleblowers, to make sure we have more lawyers. And we do everything that's humanly possible to slow this down, and this madness, and stop it in its tracks. And I think we can do it, but not if we keep attacking each other. Well, one last thing, Michael said this as well. Go out there and show up and recruit other people to the Democratic Party. This is the time. So many independents have been frustrated by both parties. They're looking for some place to go and be useful. And the Democratic Party right now is a place to be useful. The Republican Party is not. And make sure that they call up our 4 Republican House members in the state of Colorado and make sure they hear about what they feel when you're cutting health care, cutting housing, cutting food, cutting the essentials of life to the people that are the last of the least. So I know you guys can do it. I know Boulder Democrats have been doing it for a long time, better than anybody, but you too have to rise to the occasion. Thank you.